Line is hot. Hit.
Today we're taking a look at the MyMedic from MyMedic. The MyMedic is a small-sized IFAK which has been built specifically to address the injuries likely to occur in the shooting sports. The bag has vertical and horizontal MOLLE webbing, a quick detach system, and includes a multi-use mounting strap. The overall fit and finish of the bag is excellent. It has quality Velcro, the zippers function smoothly, and it has good stitching throughout, especially on the MOLLE. The bag itself is 600D nylon. The front of the bag has the tearaway tourniquet pouch which holds a rat's TQ. On the rear of the bag we have the quick detach system which consists of two hard plastic spikes which weave through the MOLLE webbing. They can be tugged away with some force. The bag will then separate from the MOLLE panel you have it attached to. Also included on the back is a quick detach multi-use strap which we'll cover a little bit later. Let's have a look inside. The MyMedic is a kit designed for penetrating injuries, burns, bleeds, as well as other minor injuries. It has several components which I consider boo-boo components, and plenty of other more severe trauma-type components. I would describe the MyMedic as an IFAK for shooters. Contents include a chest seal, burn gel, the rat's tourniquet, quick clot impregnated gauze, a trauma dressing, compressed gauze. It has liquid skin, shears, tweezers, gloves for personal protective equipment, of course, saline, Saljet wound wash, and a variety of over-the-counter meds, to include Pepto-Bismol, Advil, Tylenol, Benadryl, and additional boo-boo contents include lip balm, sunscreen, gauze pads, bite and sting relief, and band-aids. It's all held together in a well-organized pouch with high visibility red interior lining. So from the questionable burrito stand that you shouldn't have stopped at before the match, all the way to a penetrating chest wound, this kit has plenty of day-saving and life-saving gear inside. Overall, I am very impressed with the quality of the contents. When putting your own first aid kit together, you have to question where your gear comes from. From one Amazon vendor to the next, you might not be able to identify a legit cat TQ. I want a vendor that sells legit stuff so I can skip over the do I trust this phase of my purchase. Many of the components inside the MyMedic are in fact MyMedic branded packaging, so hopefully they're controlling all that QC and all that stuff that you see is legit American made products just like it says on their website. Grabbing a purpose-built kit gives me confidence that the gear I'm using is legit through and through. I want you to ask yourself if a vendor on Amazon selling 3 cat Gen 7 tourniquets for $21 is legit. Hint.
China. 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 China.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the clarification. So here's a visual overview of all the stuff that's in the pouch. It holds quite a bit of gear, and I don't think you'll be disappointed with the carrying capacity for a small IFAK. One thing I forgot to mention was the included strap on the back of the bag. With it you can make an impromptu first aid station. For example, if you're at the gun range and you want to make a station where everybody can see, hey, here's the first aid, here it is right here, I'm going to strap it to this post, you can use the included strap to do that. So that's an awesome addition for this kit. You can attach it to car seats, poles, trees, etc. We test our guns in realistic defensive situations, so why should medical gear be any different? I decided that a simple, simulated range injury would be the best approach for this review. The scenario is, you're alone at the range and your spouse doesn't expect you back for 3 hours. You are shooting steel and you feel a sudden sharp pain to the forearm. Oh crap. For this scenario, a ricochet will simulate a lower limb injury with severe bleeding. I positioned the simulated injury below the elbow to better illustrate for the GoPro. I then proceeded to film the injury and my response. Please guys, a professional actor I am not, but here's my best effort. Your first course of action, step 1, is to alert EMS. If such an injury occurs, help needs to be on the way. If you go unconscious, your spouse won't start looking for you until after you said you will return home. No bueno. Activate EMS so you can likely receive help within 15 to 20 minutes. What if you can't control the bleeding despite your best efforts? Would you rather be found 3 hours later or 15 minutes later? If you at least called 911, you might have a fighting chance. The next step is to identify the source of the bleeding. Bloody clothes can mask the location of the wound, so it is important to remove these layers to find the source of the bleeding. Since I am playing the role of the victim, I have a rough estimate of where the pain and injury is located, so I elected to apply the rat's tourniquet first. The proximity of the simulated wound to my elbow necessitates the application of the tourniquet above the elbow. My next step was to identify the entry wound. I wanted to see what kind of damage was under there and begin to properly dress it. The shears cut through the thick cuff and cut through the material, the nylon, very easily. It's a good quality shears and a good quality product. I exposed the wound to air just to identify what's going on. My next course of action was to detach the MyMedic from my bag. Here I pull the spikes, and boom, there it is. I tried to use my left hand as little as possible. Again, this is just a simulated injury. There would be pain in that arm, of course, but this is, again, practice for me too. I'm actually rehearsing what would happen if I had to use this all by myself, one-handed. Looking back on it, opening the compressed gauze with my mouth, probably not a good idea. Potential risk for infection. But again, this is practice. In the future, I'll try to practice using shears to open those things one-handed and see how it goes. I then attempted to use the compressed gauze and wrap it around my arm, but I found that this was fairly futile. One-handed, it is way too difficult to do that. So instead, I elected to compress the wound and wait for my medical assistance to arrive. Thus ends my self-directed self-training scenario. As just a quick recap, remember that was a self-directed training scenario. The proper course of action if you were treating a victim would be to alert EMS. Identify the source of the bleeding, cut away clothes if necessary, find the hole, find where that blood's coming from, and then apply compression. This could consist of a tourniquet, gauze, wound packing, or all of the above. And most importantly, remember, some guy on YouTube does not replace proper training. There are Stop the Bleed courses all over the United States, so it will behoove you to find one and apply. Overall, I'm impressed with the MyMedic. I've built a lot of self-built first aid kits, but oftentimes I'm left wondering at the quality of some of the components I get from Amazon. So no longer an issue for me. I'm going to be ordering from MyMedic.com just so I make sure I get the authentic stuff, US made gear. This is a good product to have with you at the range. We've all been to an unsafe gun range, indoors particularly. We've all seen accidents happen. We've all potentially been there when mistakes could have cost a life. Okay, don't put yourself in that situation where there's no response, where there's no good response to that bleeding, that injury. You need first aid, whether it's MyMedic or a well-built kit, you need to have it with you on the range. Big thanks to MyMedic for sending over the MyMedic for test and evaluation. Don't forget to visit my blog at thenewrifleman.com where you can see additional articles and additional pictures about this product there on the website. And finally, this is Lothan, RN, BSN, Bleeding Control Instructor, signing out.